Hello, my Teaserking family. Today we're going to talk about my moving experience, and it's really for to help everybody, as well as relocation and moving for jobs versus moving for because you want to move, and then what's going on in gold and silver. Um, let's first talk about moving. So I'm moving back to Detroit from Alabama. I took a job in Alabama. I'm going back to a job in Detroit. Wasn't my cup of tea, which gets back to the initial what I'm trying to do here. So I call up a mover, highly recommended on Google or whatever. But what you got to realize is they weren't the movers. They were basically going to move you. They had a subcontractor move you, but they don't tell you. So I'm sitting there waiting, and they were like 6 hours late. I keep calling. Are they coming? Yeah. Finally, the driver calls after 3 hours. So they get there at like 6 p.m. So I'm exhausted because I'm stressed already. And then they start dicking around. Oh, you don't have enough square footage. Now, I've moved around Detroit, and they just say, hey, it's a 2-bedroom. This is what I got. They go, oh, that's $500. And whatever you have, they put on the truck. Not an issue. And then they drop the truck off. Because this was Alabama to Detroit, it's a little longer distance. What they said is, well, no, you only have 290 square feet of things. We can only load so much. And the problem goes back to the initial quote, which was supposed to be just an estimate of, well, I got 30 boxes, and I got a bed, and I got a dresser, and I got this, and I got that. So the quote comes back at 2,100. And I'm like, and then they say, oh, and I'm thinking, okay, and I'm looking, and okay, moving across like this, it's going to be that. So then it's either do I take the stuff or do I not take it? First question, do I just leave it or do I take it? So I go, for $2,000, I guess I'll take it. And then they get there and they're like, well, it's not enough. And for another 100 square feet, they only charge me $500. So now all of a sudden it's getting more, and then they're charging me, nickel diming me. Oh, we gotta pack your picture frame, which should normally be included. We gotta put wood so it doesn't break, and all this stuff. And they're just scamming me right and left. And because they're not the movers that I initially talked to, I don't know what to do. Right, the initial movers, and don't ever use these, are Belmont. I don't know. They're all over the place. This was out of West Palm Beach, but I see it. And I went on their website going, why did I choose it? And there's a bunch of positive feedback. So I'm like, okay. So just be careful. They weren't the ones, right? So I'm expecting like 2 men in a truck. They're going to come, and these are the guys, and they quoted me a price, and that's the price. They're going to come. They're loading, and that's it. So they only loaded like maybe half or 3/4 of my items. I'm moving back to Detroit. What am I going to do? It's not like a crosstown move where you can delay it a couple of days or get another mover. So they kind of have you by the balls, basically. So you've got to be careful with that. So what do? I have them move it, but they only move like half or 3/4 of it, and they want to nickel dime me. Well, it's 100 more square feet. That's another 500. So it was just a nightmare, and they were late, and they didn't leave till 10:30 on something that should have taken an hour to do, an hour and a half. So my point is, careful if you're going to move. Now, if you're moving from one city to another in your town, right? So I'm moving from Livonia to Canton in Michigan, and it's 10 miles away. Okay, you're going to get the $500-$600 for the move. They're going to load it up, and boom. And if they leave a few boxes, and you drive it over. All right, so you have them do the big stuff. I checked the pods. I was told of pods. It was going to be like $1,700 versus the 21, and I would have had to load it myself, and there was a $150 charge to drop it off at my place, and then they were going to transport it $1,700 and then drop it off at the new place. So it was going to be $2,000 anyway, and I would have needed people to help me pack it and load it and unload it. And with heavy stuff, I can't do it. So lesson learned is the movers have to be the ones you're going to use. it has to be the final price. So in other words, if they say $2,000, that's the price to load everything. And you've got to confirm that or they'll start screwing you over. And I talked to a few friends and they're telling me this is very common, that the other people come. So it's all second hand, right? So it's not, you're dealing with Green Bay and New England shows up. Like, well, I've been on Green Bay. What do you mean New England? So I'm dealing with Belmont Movers and another moving company comes up. And the kicker is, I think it's a scam because they didn't even give me a receipt. So they never gave me like, okay, here's an inventory list of what you got. I asked the guy for it. He says, well, we'll eat it for you. I haven't gotten an email yet. I tried calling Belmont several times, and the sales guy and the quality guy who were supposed to make the quote proper haven't returned a call. I keep getting customer service, some guy who doesn't, he don't know what's going on. He can't help. I'm trying to get a hold of management, but so just be careful. Get the quote, which is out the door. Okay, this is the quote. You guys are moving me. So when you deal with the $2,000 move, that's it. That's the bottom line. They're going to come. They're going to load my entire apartment or condo, and that's it. And I got it all boxed. The other thing was the communication. I put some like sweatshirts in a plastic bag because it was much easier instead of, I could fit a lot more in and just tie it up. And so I talked to the guy at Belmont. Oh, no problem. They'll take care of it. And then here they go. And then they say, oh, we can't do that. And then they charge me $30 for a box. And they shove there's 2 garbage bags they shoved in the box. Well, just tell me it's going to be $30, fine. Or I would have bought a box from Walmart had I known. But when they're there, you can't. What are you going to do? Run to Walmart and get a box? So again, there's a lot of surprises. Tired. They're 3 hours late. They weren't even in Alabama. They were coming from Georgia. What the fuck are they telling me 11 to 3? And the guys calls me at 3, said, we'll be there in 3 hours. I was ready to say, screw you, but I got to move. So what are you going to do? So that's the experience. Make sure you contact the mover who's going to move you. Get a quote for this is what you're going to move my whole house, not based because it was an estimate. I said, I got 30 boxes. I had 35. I said, I forgot a painting and a second TV, which I didn't think was a big deal. In Detroit, they just load whatever they can get on the truck. They load it. It's $500. You pay them and you're done. And this was oh, wait, no, this wasn't on the list. It's going to cost you. So it was like nickel diming you. Oh, what the fuck? Just do 290 square feet, and then we'll talk about the rest. So for an extra 100 square feet, it was all of a sudden $500. Well, what do you do? And you start weighing it going, well, can I replace it? And there was some stuff that wasn't worth $500. That's screwy. So then I went, fortunately, I have a friend there. He picked it up on Sunday and he took it to his house, about 15 boxes, sports cards and card stuff and some books and stuff like that I will then go back and he's kind enough to put it in his garage so I don't have to pay for the storage. But the lesson learned is to get the bottom line cost that they want to charge you, and that's it. But you want to talk to the mover, and if they don't, see, in small print it says we're brokers, but it says Belmont Movers. That's what you're calling. But then in small print, why? It's we're brokers. We don't actually move you. Somebody else says, well, you never want that. You want to be with the mover who's going to move you and get all the details and get the quote saying, okay, this is the bottom line to do it. But you got to be careful. They're nickel diming you. This is what they do. It's a terrible business. It's very frustrating. Yeah, it's a few $100. I was going to spend $2, but if I knew I was going to spend $3, I would have not done it. I would have I'm going to go buy a new bed. I'm going to buy a new TV. Do I need the kitchen table? No. I mean, I would have just given it all to charity, taken the good baseball cards, the gold, the silver, and stuff like that. And then that's in my car anyway. And then off I go. So anyways, I'm back to Detroit. I'm going to, I got a job waiting, and then Teaserking, of course, we'll start getting into with the draft soon. Okay, let's talk about relocation. I like talking about various things that happen to me that will help you understand it. So if you get a job that they want to relocate you, first of all, if they paid for the relocation, so I moved from Detroit to Alabama and they paid for it, it's a trap because you have to pay it back if you quit. So all of a sudden you got this $7,000-8,000 bill that if you don't like the job and quit it, you got to pay it back. They don't tell you that. You think, oh, I get 10 grand or whatever they taxed you, and they should gross it up. So you should get 10 grand. My company didn't. So I got taxed and I only got 7,500. So right away I'm down 2,500 and I'm upset. If a company doesn't promise the payment, your salary, if you're promised one salary and they undercut you, don't ever work for them, because that's the way they're going to treat you. You don't want to work for them. There's nothing good's going to happen. So if anybody gives you this offer, and then when the time for the real offer comes, in other words, they told me a price, this is what you're going to get paid for the job. I interview, I get the job, and then they say, oh, we're going to undercut you by 10 grand. That's what the price, that's what the job. And you're like, but I've already interviewed. I've turned down others because I got this. And so relocation, you've got to be very, very careful because you're trapped, right? It's like you're fucked for 2 years if you don't like it. So you got to be very careful to take a reload, even though you think, oh, I'll get all this money. It's a trap. Then you're in prison basically, and you got to like the job, but you got to be careful with it. So that's the first. Secondly, there's nothing to do in Huntsville, Alabama. If you're from Detroit or Vegas and you like going to the casino and you like good meals and you like to do a lot of stuff, there's no malls, there's no restaurants, there's nothing there. So it was a culture shock, and it was not my cup of tea because it was totally different. So the advice is, if you're going to relocate for a job, that you have to have been there and enjoy it. In other words, if this job was in Las Vegas, I'd have been fine because I've been to Vegas 100 times. I would hang out at Caesars and Bellagio and watch football and, play poker, and I would have been fine. I would have been happy there. But because the job was at Huntsville, Alabama, which I never heard of, it made the relocation. I never went there. And I kind of asked questions, which they lied about. So they lied a lot in the interview, and people are just, not happy. So what you have to understand is, if you've never been there, before you accept the job, go there and see if you like it. Now, I would have thought, it's Alabama, Crimson Tide, there's Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. You would just think these are normal places to live, but they're not. This place is ridiculous. The taxes are 9% on everything. So you go to the grocery store, you buy celery, and you know how I'm into no sugar, and you buy celery, military and NASA and all the defense contractors. So it makes all too expensive to live. Careful. My connections are unstable. I do with football. I try to teach in economics. I'll be doing my economics probably. I can see not a lot of views. I don't know. Are into football and not that. Hey, Nick. Went to college in Maryland, freshman experiences, 2,500 to leave. I kept calling them liars because they screwed me out of tents that you intend to live for a couple of weeks and say, do I like it here? And I'll tell you, as soon as I was there, I was ready to leave. Didn't like the company, didn't like the culture of the company. The culture, I've never seen culture like this. It was terrible. But you've got to be careful. Like I said, if I went to Vegas fine. I'd be very happy there. San Diego, if I went to Amsterdam to live, I'd be very happy there. The Ukraine until the war, it was very good to live there. Even Romania, it's very cheap because of the dollar. So, I mean, I thought about moving to the Ukraine until this war. I said, well, I can move there. It's 27 to 1, and I can eat steaks cheap. The people are very friendly. Seems like a nice place if you wanted a vacation or live there. I've been there 4 or 5 times. But now it's like I can't wait to leave. So I'm on my way back. I'm just taking a day because of the moving was stressful. But just be careful. The reloc is not what you think. So Nick, you went there for college. Nobody paid you, and you could easily move back. You didn't owe it. If you go for a job and they pay you the 10 grand, you have to pay it back if you don't like it and leave. So you are trapped there. It's like the golden handcuffs as you get married. If a woman marries you for money, not because she loves you, and nobody should marry, for money, because if you do, and you don't like the person, then what do? Well, he pays for everything. Now, how am I going to live? And that's what a lot of women get into, or guys too, I guess, if they got rich women. So you got to be very careful. You can't do things for money. You got to enjoy it. I love Teaserking and football and poker, and I'm in finance. I'm a financial analyst, not a stockbroker. And I love what I do, so I have no problem doing it. And that's really the key to life, finding what you love to do. And it should be the key with a spouse. If it's a girl or a boy, depending on, if you're a man or a woman, you got to love to be with them. And you should only marry like somebody that you really want to spend a lot of time with, because otherwise it won't work. And then what do? Then you get a divorce, you lose half your money, you lose the house, whatever. So that's what happens. So be very careful. So, I asked questions in the interview. They lied. They lied about everything. They're a bunch of liars down in L. I've never seen people so scared of, I opened a bank account. Oh, let me see your social. Not only did I have to give my social security number, I had to give them the card. That's how bad they don't trust you there. I've never seen anything like it. And they don't like looking for restaurants. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's no malls. There's no casinos. There's no like swimming pools you could go to. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know how people live. And that's what I'd be saying that. How do you live here? And the taxes are high. So I was just like really didn't like anything about it. Didn't like the landlord I was at. She was horrible. I mean, it's not the way you treat people paying your rent. So I just thought it was a bad experience. And I just trying to warn you, if you get the reloc, you think, oh, I'm going to get 10 grand, make sure they gross it up, and then make sure it's a place like it's Vegas, it's maybe San Diego, it's maybe Orlando, if you like that pretty city. Or if you want Denver, make sure you've been there and you vacation there and you go, yeah, I could see living here. They have what I like. Then that's where you go. But be careful on the reloc, because it's golden handcuffs. You can't leave the job. You got to pay the reloc back. So you got to, so unless you get another job, so let's say you go make 100 grand in, let's say Montana, and then you don't like it. There's nothing out here. You got to pay the reloc back. So unless you move to Vegas, let's say, for a job that pays 120, now you'll have the extra money to pay that off. But why even get into that situation? So unless it's like for me, it would be like being the GM of the Rams or Kansas City, then I would take the job and the reloc. But I mean, if it's not a job that it's a dream job, if it's just a regular job that you can get in your city, then don't even take it, because the reloc will kill you. And then the people in Alabama are not friendly. I'm sorry. And they're apparently not intelligent. I had a car problem, and I asked 15 people I work with, where do you take your car? I got, it wasn't something major. It was just a minor thing, needed adjusting. Nobody knew. Only 15 people. Nobody knew. And so they're all not intelligent, or they don't like me because I'm from the north and I'm intelligent. I couldn't tell what it is, but I came in and when I was working at my last job, they liked you being strong and aggressive. It was a German company and they wanted you to be, so when you come into Alabama and you're strong and aggressive, which is what I am, they don't like you. They're scared of you. Oh, he's smarter than me. And, it's just that the people here are not highly educated. So you end up where they think they're they're all a bunch of scammers and they don't like you because you're Northern, or I'm a man, or I'm white, or I'm older. I can't tell. I don't know what it is, but I felt the way I was treated was terrible. Hey, Thomas. I went to college in Mississippi for a semester. I'm from Maryland. Everyone could spot me like a sore thumb. They all treated me like, exactly, Thomas. That's exactly how I felt. And the problem is, as you see me here, I'm extremely confident. When I make football picks, I like the game, and the games, win more than they lose. And that's how it was at the German company, right? They liked that I was aggressive and confident, and I knew what I was talking about, and they liked that. But when I went here, they didn't like it. I went to a health club. So I joined a health club so I could swim and do my workout. And everybody's roll tide, roll tide, roll. It's worse. I'm from Michigan. It's worse than Ohio State people. And I proudly wore my Michigan sweatshirt. I think I have it. You see me in it. So I'm proudly walking around with my Michigan Rose Bowl sweatshirt, like sticking my thumb out. I'm like, screw you guys, roll tide, take roll tide this. And then when I had Georgia over Alabama in the championship game, everybody at work's going roll tide, and I'm going, they're going to lose. And the difference is, I said that in Michigan at my work or at the poker room or somewhere, they would go, nice pick, Howard. That was a great pick. You had Georgia, they won, or the under, that won. It was a great pick. Here, nobody said a word to me. They're all sad Alabama lost, and I told them they're going to lose. And nobody came up to me and said, good pick, Howard. That was a good pick. They were all crying because Alabama lost. And again, I tease them about the Super Bowl. I go, Alabama doesn't have a pro team, does it? Alabama, none of the Crimson Tide's a college team. And it's all paid. It's all fixed, and he pays all the players or the players. But that's the problem. The culture, people down in Alabama are just like you're saying, Thomas, Mississippi. They're just like, what the hell is wrong with you people? I don't know, but it's not like that in Vegas and San Diego. I find pretty normal people too. Florida's probably pretty normal because a lot of people go to Florida from Canada, from New York, from the northern states. They migrate to Florida, but nobody goes to Alabama. There was nothing in Huntsville. Don't ever go there. There's nothing there. There's nothing. It's all fast food, Wendy's and Burger King, and nothing that you would nothing healthy. There was one like outdoor mall. There wasn't a mall. In Michigan, there's something called 12 Oaks, and it's an indoor mall, and it's got 3 stories, and there's restaurants and all that. There's nothing. There's no walk-in mall in Huntsville, Alabama. And it gets hot during the summer, I guess. I've been there since November. And it's just a joke. And, the whole thing, I could smell it. The orientation was 4 days, and it was like, had I been in Detroit and I had this orientation, I would have left. I would have quit after day 4. Where in Michigan, when I was working for the German company, orientation was a half hour. Here's the bathroom. Here's the sink. Here's the cafeteria. Here's where you get your paper from. Here's your computer. Here's where here's your SAP to go get your general ledger. You got Excel. Here's the database to use, Essbase. And that was, maybe an hour, 2 hours. I think by 9 to 11, that was my orientation. That's all you need. This was 4 fucking days of orientation. And they were so strict and the rules were terrible. Nobody wants to be controlled. That's the biggest key I took out of this. So don't ever get in a situation if you're working or anything. And I think that's why we do football. And that's why I keep telling everybody gold and silver. That all is freedom. When I tell you to buy gold and silver, I'm trying to protect you and give you freedom. You can't use the dollar. You can't use, okay, maybe Bitcoin is an answer, but even that is, if the Russians pull the plug on the internet, now how do you get your Bitcoin? Gold you have, silver you have, put it in your pocket, you have it. And it's still being held down by COMEX. And I was talking to a guy yesterday, quickly changing the subject. He says, how do you buy it? And then, can you put it in your IRA? And I said, just go to a coin store and buy your gold, buy your silver, give them cash, get the money. There's no tax, and leave. And there's no trail. Nobody knows you have it. They can't confiscate it. You act stupid. But that's what you do. Don't buy the EFTs. So if you're buying COMEX and they're selling you paper gold, you don't own it. So if you put it in your IRA and you think, oh, I got 1,000 ounces in my EFT in my IRA, you don't own it. And you and 1,000 other people own the same slice. And how they can't give 1,000 people 1 ounce of gold. So do not think I have it in an EFT, it's in my IRA, I'm protected. You're not. You don't have it. It's not there. So that's why you buy physical, but it's for freedom. And it's for the same situation that I'm talking about, that you get that golden handcuff or whatever. That's why we do football. It's off the books. We bet it, we cape it, and there you go. That's your money. You don't pay tax on it. You just, good. Like Nick, he buys baseball cards and silver with it. It's all under the radar. Nobody knows he has it. He's fine. He's smart. And that's what I try to do. That's why we do this. If you do anything through the bank, they have a trail, right? And they're going to, you owe. So, so you got to be careful with that. But I'm trying to get freedom. But anyway, so this whole moving and this whole relocation, these are issues. And I just want to, tell you my story, so maybe it'll help you. We're all going to move. So if you move to Vegas, like Nick's in New Jersey, and he moves to Vegas, you have two decisions. Either do you take everything, or do you just leave it and buy in Vegas? So there's a price point. You say, you know what, if it's $3,000, I can go buy a bed, a TV, a table, kitchen table and chairs, whatever you need. Just buy it for $3,000. You don't need to take it. The only thing you need to take is your silver, your gold, your Joe Burrow cards. That's the kind of stuff that you put in your car and you drive. So that's what you need. And that's the decision that needs to be made, is at what point, I didn't really want to drive a U-Haul. I could have loaded a U-Haul up, but I would have needed somebody to load it, and I would have driven it. And I don't like putting my car in the back. I would have driven it to Detroit, and I would have needed somebody to unload it for me. Then I would have needed to, I guess you just put it in. Then I would have needed to get back to Alabama to drive my car back. So I'm thinking, well, that's another $600, because in Huntsville, there is no direct to the airport. You fly into Nashville or you fly Atlanta to Huntsville. It's like $600 I go to Vegas for $300. And so you have that cost. That's another $600. Plus now I'm at a hotel for the night. That's $700. And then food's food. You'd eat anyway, but and then the gas. So you have, and your 2 days of travel. Well, it's a 10-hour drive. I'm doing it in 2 days, but you have that. So that also weighs in it. So really, it's best if you move to just take one carload, drive to your place, because you're going to need your car. And that's it. Don't, if you have a whole house, just, I don't know what to tell you. I guess just buy it, or be prepared to pay $10,000 to move from New Jersey, New York to Vegas, let's say, or Orlando. If you're moving to Orlando, or you're moving to Dallas, I'd like to hear from these people who fled California because of the high taxes and socialism and went to Texas or Vegas or Reno or wherever they moved, how they did it. Did they pack up? Did they just leave everything and buy new in Vegas? And were you going for a job? Did they pay for the reloc, or did you just go and then say, well, I'll get a job when I get there? So that was my thought too, of moving to Vegas, getting a job, then staying in a extended stay or some, one of those type of hotels where you can rent it for the month at a fairly good price, like an Embassy Suites or Courtyard by Marriott and stuff like that, where it's maybe, $1,500 for the month because they give you a monthly rate. Like extended stay, I think what I'll do in Michigan is maybe do a few weeks at an extended stay looking for an apartment, because it's hard to get an apartment without seeing it. So I'll do that. But again, that's the thing. So I do have an interview sometime this week. It's not ironed out yet because they're waiting for me to get back to Detroit. So I should have hopefully a job waiting. That'll make everything much easier. But that's the key to it. You have to enjoy your girlfriend. You have to enjoy even your friends. Like here, we try to have a good time. I try to educate. You have to enjoy where you live. What are you going to do? Like, we need casino. Like, I wanted to play poker. There's no casino in Alabama. So in Detroit, I'm going to go to this. I'm near Cincinnati now. There's a Hollywood casino 10 minutes away. I'm going to go there, play some poker and have some dinner and just relax. I don't think there's much on in sports world. But no, today's Monday night, the championship game's on, so I'll probably watch that. So I mean, that's what that's what you gotta think about. And then I think about my girlfriend in the Ukraine, and I go, I can't bitch. She's getting bombed on. She keeps saying about air raids and air alarms, and she can't sleep because the alarms are on all night because the Russians are bombing. So when I think of that, I go, well, I can't bitch, but for just a normal thing, we got to be careful. But we got to be careful of the financial problems, the Russians and Chinese getting out of the U.S. dollar, so that's going to hurt the dollar, which again, buy the gold and silver, and it's being held down because of COMEX. It's funny. I watch these things on YouTube. These what's his name, Andy something, and then these other guys who are fairly smart, and they're looking at the chart, and you're like, dude, I don't know. I'm beginning to think Mike Maloney doesn't know what he's talking about. He did the 10 steps, and I go, oh, this guy is really smart. He understands economics. And then he's like looking at charts, and I'm like, dude, it's price fixed from COMEX. There is no charts. What are you talking about? It's being price fixed down. It's being held down by the paper COMEX market. If you took that out, it would be 10, 20,000. So you can't look at a chart on I guess it's a price fixed COMEX chart. But I was looking at cards. I was showing some friends, and I said, well, here's a Jerry Rice rookie. It's $100,000 if it's a PSA 10. I was educating a guy on sports cards. And I said, here's the difference between a regular Jerry Rice dollars and a PSA 10, 100,000. And because he was telling me, I got all these Manals and Mazes and that. And I looked at them. They're all piece of crap. They were all dinged and spotted and everything. I go, this is, you're going to get a 1 or 2 for this card. It's not worth anything. He's trying to tell me they're mint condition. And I'm looking at him like, no. And I showed him a mint condition. I showed him a PSA 9 that I had that was graded. And I go, this is mint condition. And so trying to educate him based on condition. And that's what you really got to look at. But that's what you're looking at. But all that's freedom. Because we're all, right now the paper. My point was, would you rather own this $100,000 Jerry Rice card or this ounces of gold? And it's hitting me that I'd rather own the ounce of gold. And I can't imagine that the Jerry Rice PSA 10 is worth more than an ounce of gold. And it really, I'm trying to register that going, it doesn't make sense. the gold's got to be worth more, even though it's a PSA 10 Jerry Rice rookie, which is hard to find, and it's very limited because most of the 86 tops were off center. Not like I have one. The condition was fine, but the centering, it's like the Jordan 84 Flair rookie card. It was really hard to get a centered card. The centering was terrible. That's why if you get a PSA 10 from the 86 Flair or the 86 tops, that's why because there's probably not 100 PSA 10s because they made them so bad. But with that said, I can't imagine that the ounce of gold isn't worth it. So if they let the ounce of gold finally go, and I think with this whole Russia, China thing, trying to put oil and gas and gold and new currencies, that's when you're going to really see it jump. But you got to understand it's paper market COMEX. They're selling what they don't own. People are buying thinking they own it and they don't. So it's just a big scam going on. So be careful. Bitcoin, again, I see it's at 45,000. I get that it's freedom. And a lot of the Russians who were in this bought Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin's up, because it's nobody knows, right? It's independent. But they'll probably move it into gold as soon as they can, would be my guess. I'd rather own gold than Bitcoin because at least I have it. Anyway, I think that's about it. So be careful on the movers. Get the final mover. Are you moving me? That's the question. If they say no, it's subcontracted, then then just go to a moving company that's going to move you. Get the cost. See if it's worth it. Because for a couple $1,000s, you can buy a new bed, a new TV. The TVs are cheap. A new couch or chairs, a new kitchen table and chairs. It depends. If you got 3 kids and you got to buy 3 beds, well then, but what's it going to cost? It might cost you 20 grand to move it. So you got to get the final. That's why you need the final price, because what they did to me is they said, well, 2 grand. And then as the guys come, well, that's another 500 here, and it's up to 3 grand to put more on the truck, which had it been 3 grand, I wouldn't have done it. I would have just stored it or rented a U-Haul and paid some guy to drive the U-Haul to Detroit, and it probably wouldn't have been that expensive. But probably the best thing would have been just give it to charity and go buy new, except for my baseball cards and my books and things that I wanted. Just figure out a way to ship it down. Everything I could put in the car. Like I put clothes because I don't have an apartment for a couple of weeks. So I took clothes like this and I packed it in a couple of suitcases, figuring, well, I won't have access to my clothes until I get the apartment. The only failure is I didn't put enough pants in. I got 1 dress pants, but I got my sweats, but I don't have like my jeans and my other pants. I don't know why I didn't pack them. Unless I put them in a different spot. But the 2 suitcases, I only have 1 pair of pants. So Teaserking's got to run out and buy some more pants. Not a professor move by me. I thought I had more. I think what I did is I put all the pants in a garbage bag, and I should have just stuck that in my back seat. I didn't think. I really didn't, unfortunately. But if that's the worst, then I go to the mall and go pick up a couple pair of pants, and I don't need too many. Anyway, that's what happened to me. So I hope it doesn't happen to you, and I hope these lessons learned are educational for you and you realize. So careful on your movers. Get a final quote. Have them come to your house, quote it out, saying this is it. Make sure they're the movers. Don't subcontract it. And then say, okay, it's going to be 2,000 or 2,500. You're going to pack the house and move it, right? And have them sign it. That's what it is. And then you digest. Does that make sense? And if it doesn't, just don't move it. You don't need to move. You can buy a kitchen table, and TVs are cheap, and a bed I looked at is not that expensive. So you can buy new where you go. The relocation for the job, be very careful. You've got to know that you like the job, or you have friends that work there that go, it's a great place. Like I worked at Mercedes. That's the German company. And I would tell you, go work for Mercedes. Now it's funny, the first month I didn't really like the job that much, But as I got more into it and learn more, I'm the type that hates learning but loves to teach. So in the beginning of a job, I'm learning everything, and I don't like that because I can't be aggressive and I can't teach it. But once I hit that point where I get it and now I'm teaching, then I'm very comfortable. So there's always that first month of grin and bear it. But if you know, so I would tell you to go work at Mercedes. It's a great place to work. Now, if you get an offer at Mercedes, they're going to pay for a reload. They're going to move you to Germany or Detroit or Portland or Atlanta. Go ahead. It's a good place to work. And, you know, you'd like it there. So you wouldn't have that issue of, I don't like it. I want to get out, but I'm trapped by the reload. So you're almost better if you do get a job, be very careful about relocating. I mean, it's got to be an ideal job that you really like, and the city's got Orlando, Vegas, maybe Arizona, someplace that you're gonna like, and the people are friendly. Like you said, Thomas, Mississippi, they're not. I found Alabama, they're not. I don't know. I mean, they're just strange people. The girls were strange. Everything was very strange. I made a few friends, but mostly I'd say hi to a girl and she'd look at me like, well, why are you talking to me? And I'd be like, okay, forget about it. Yeah, no problem. Just trying to be nice. So that's the thing. So be very careful about a reload. If you get a $10,000, make sure they gross it up. And then if you do get it, you owe it. You got to pay it back. So you better like the job. It better be worth it. So now I'm just coming back to Detroit on my own. So if I get a job and I don't like it, I just get another job. Not a problem. That's why I'm buying gold and silver. So as it goes up, I'm going to be more and more freer. My retirement was money, but now I can't rely on US dollars because I know the value is going to drop and drop and drop. If I have money first of all, if I have money in the bank, I got to get it out, which I probably won't. If I have money in my safe, which I do, the value of it's going to drop, which doesn't help me. So I've got to be in an asset that won't lose the value. So that's why it's gold and silver, and then just wait for it to pop. So but I need to work to buy more gold and silver. So now my retirement's 100 ounces of gold where it was $500,000 or something. So that's the difference. And so that's why I'm buying the gold and silver. That's my retirement, basically. That'll be my freedom and allow me to not have, just do this, do Teaserking and do and play poker in Vegas. So Vegas would be my last stop. My friends are going, why don't you just move there now? And I go, well, I don't know if I can find the same type of jobs I can find in Detroit, automotive, with my finance background. I get paid good money to do that. Where if I'm in Vegas, I don't know, there's casino jobs, but yeah, there's finance jobs, but I don't see that many of them. As I see auto jobs, because you got the auto supplier Ford, and then you got the partners who make the brakes and make the lights and make the seat belts, and so you got hundreds of companies feeding them. So all the opportunities where in Vegas it's the casino, nobody feeds them, right? You're going to be a financial analyst there. That's it. So you just got to see, and then I don't think they pay that much. And then there's not the outside companies that. So Vegas is very good to play poker, do Teaserking, do things like that there. Like, it's a good place to vacation. It's a good place probably to live, but it's not a good place. It's a good place to retire. I don't know. It's a good place to make good money and then live nice. Although I do have friends that live there. One guy moved from Oakland to there, and he likes it. He's been there a while, and he worked in the casino, but not in finance or IT. He worked there at the poker table. So, that's okay, but I'm sure he didn't make that kind of money. Anyway, that's about it. Again, this whole Russian war, they're trying to get off the dollar. They're trying to go with petro dollar, which is a Russian, Chinese, European dollar with some gold and silver in it, and that'll have a value. And Russia wants to be paid in gold for their oil, this shows you how smart Putin is. He understands it. Nobody's taught it. The financial managers don't buy gold. Uh, they're all going to get killed when the market drops and the gold goes through the roof, and then they're going to start, oh, okay, now I'll buy gold. Well, yeah, we're buying it now when it's cheap, and it's not really that cheap. I mean, it's 2,000 an ounce, but where it's going, it'll be much. So once they get rid of the COMEX and the price fixing, then it'll really, it should be up there with the Joe Montana and the Jerry Rice cards that are 100 grand, which make no sense that they're 100 and gold isn't. So anyway, keep your eyes open on that. Again, we're about our own freedom and happiness. That's what I'm trying to teach. That's why I'm doing these economics. If you haven't watched the trade cycle one that I did, watch it. It explains everything. And the inverted yield curve is the start of the bust. Just in case you haven't seen it, I'm telling you now, we're in one. It's going to go down. So just be careful. So what I'm trying to do is warn you. So when it happens, but then there's these guys saying buy gold, and gold hasn't shot up, but because it's still being fixed by COMEX. So they're correct in their assumption, but it's outside sources, and they're not understanding price fixing, and they get the COMEX, but then they still want to go to the trend going, well, it went up a little bit. They still don't get it. So keep that in mind. So be very careful. Please feel free to ask me questions. Again, www.teaserking.com. You'll get my email. Nick emails me a lot. I'm happy that he does. Happy to answer him. So that's what you got to do. The draft's coming up soon, so I'll do the draft video. I don't know if I'm going to do every team, because I think I'm just going to do key players. Like this guy, Bote on LSU was drafted by him. That's a good pick. If they don't draft anybody, for me to just go team by team and say, I don't like their draft, or Trevor Lawrence sucks, which he did, or Tagovailoa or Jalen Hurts. I don't know. I don't know if it's worthwhile. I don't know what you want. So you got to help me out. I'll talk about the Indianapolis Colts, and I got on their Twitter and I said Sam Ellinger should be their starter, who was really good at Texas. He should be the starter, not Wentz. Of course, Wentz was the starter. Of course, now they got rid of Wentz. So when they're looking for quarterbacks in the draft, it's funny. I had a conversation with a guy from Army, and I says, somebody wants to draft Malik. I think Malik Lewis, the quarterback from Liberty. I know his name's Malik. I think Malik Willis, and because he's a athlete. And I says, why don't they draft the quarterback from Army? He was a pretty good thrower too. Army scored a lot of points. I says, if you're looking for that type of quarterback, just go to the Army guy or the Navy guy. They know how to run, and they know how to throw, and they know how to work that type of offense. But to get a Malik Lewis or Malik Willis, and he's not any good. They didn't win any game. They had a terrible year. They had a better year 2 years ago, but last year they didn't do anything. Reminds me of Jordan Love. He had a great junior year. They changed coaches. He didn't do anything as a senior. He looks terrible at Green Bay. What are they doing drafting him in the first round off of what happened 2 years ago from the other coach? But when they got the new coach, he fell apart. So that's what you got to look for. So we'll get to the draft. Gold and silver, we talked about it. Just keep silver 27. It's going to be at least $500 an ounce. So just think of it as buying the Tom Brady $500 rookie card, the one he's in his U of M jersey, for $27. Would you do it? Of course. Or would you buy the Walter Payton has a $120,000 rookie card? Would you buy it for $1,800 gold? Well, of course you would. But see, the difference is you don't know. You can see. So the market says the Payton rookie card's 120 grand. Would you buy for 1,800? Of course. But what you're not seeing with gold, you see the 1,800. You don't see that it really should be 100 or 125. That's where everybody's holding back. They don't. Why isn't it 125? Well, because it's not free market. The Earl Campbell, the Rice, the Montana, the Jordan are all free market. The Brady. So the sports cards are where the free market is, but the gold and silver isn't, because the bankers are smart. They understand it. Putin got at least 4,000 tons of it. So do the Chinese. So they're smart. They know that's where you put it. So Putin was an idiot. Why is he buying 3,000 tons of it? In the money heist, it was 90 tons, right? Look how much 90. He's got 3,000, 4,000 tons that we know about, probably more. All his rich billionaire friends. So why would he buy it if it's not a good asset to buy? And that's the question that if you ask yourself, you know the answer because he is smart. He knows that's where the money is, and they can't sanction it. So the biggest question I had, and I'll finish up with this, is I said, you know what? I'm traveling with my 26 ounces of gold. And I go, what do I do when I get 100 ounces? Like all of a sudden you get a little bit like, where do I put it? I don't want to lose it. I don't want it to get stolen. How do I secure it? And that's really a good. You can't put it in the bank because the bank will fold up and they won't let you get to your safety deposit box. So I don't know if you get a safety deposit box at Caesars or at a casino. They do have them, and you put it in there. You have a safe at home, and I think it's pretty safe. But when I'm like traveling now, I'm kind of a little nervous going. I don't know, or when I'm going to stay at the extended stay, what do I keep it in the room and hide it, or do I keep it in the car? Or I don't really have a place to put it, and I can't trust the bank. So that's almost like, oh shit, I got. Like when they say the rich people have worries, so they got $1 million and then they're worried about losing it. So that's the real danger. But so far, I'm okay with it. As I get more, it does become like, where do I put it? For the silver and that, it's not that valuable. Put it in an in-house safe. But when you're traveling, and then the other question is, let's say I move to the Ukraine or Amsterdam or Austria or Paris or France or Spain, and I wanted to retire there. I don't know how I'd get it there because I don't know. I don't think I could carry it on the plane, and I don't know if I could put it in my suitcase. I think it would be okay in the suitcase, but I don't know. And then if it's too heavy, so you almost have to FedEx it, I guess, overseas, and try to figure out that way. That might be the best way, is just to FedEx it to your address and pray it gets there. So anyway, that's right now. I don't know. So I think I talked about everything. Stocks, gold, the remote, the move. Questions, www.teaserking.com. When something like that happened, it was very upsetting, very stressful. I'd like to share with you just to educate you, just so you're careful, so you don't have to go through what I went through. And it's a lot like I do with football. I had, earlier you have losing bets or poker, and then I learned from the strategy, and that's what I'm teaching you here. I've already done the football. Now I'm at the end going, okay, here's what I've learned in my 30 years doing it. Well, it's probably 50 years now because it was in the mid 70s. So we're at 2020 already, but that's the key is, this is what I've learned, and I'm trying to help you so you don't make the same mistakes. Some of the mistakes we have to make, but if I can teach you and so you avoid the mistake, and again, I'm trying to give you freedom because I know it sucks being controlled. You don't be in a company that you're controlled. Don't be in a relationship where you're controlled. You should always be yourself. So when you are dating a girl or you're married or whatever, it's got to be freedom. You should be, I'm going to play poker, and she should be, good luck, honey. I hope you win. Or she goes with you, or you're not, or she wants to go do something. Go ahead, honey. Nobody's controlling anybody. That's the one thing I have to say is I see these girls that are controlled, and I laugh. Like, it comes up like, what are you doing? And I just look at the girl and laugh, going, "Oh, I see you're controlled. Okay, well, have a nice life. Good luck. This won't last another 6 months, because I can't imagine you like being controlled. That's your problem, where you think this is the only guy that likes me, so I got to do what he says, which is totally ridiculous. So please be careful with that. All right, everybody. Teaser King, www.teaserking.com. Please be safe. Be careful. Keep an eye on what's going on. Questions, please feel free to email me. And I look forward. I'll try to do another show maybe later, or I should be in Detroit tomorrow, so I gotta get my place. So maybe try to do a video Wednesday or Thursday about what happened. But again, if you are moving, just keep in mind that they will store your move. Mine's stored for a month for free. They will. There's always storage to put your stuff, and then as far as like you don't have a place yet, so I need an apartment. You can stay at an extended stay, or there's more and more of these hotels that will allow you to get a monthly rate that isn't, it's like $1,500. So it's not like it's $100 a day, it's 3,000. They're because they know they got, because they don't fill up all their rooms, so they'd rather have, oh good, this guy's here a month, he's going to eat here. It's, and they give you 1,500, but you don't pay utilities. So if you had a place that you're renting, you got to realize there's the heat, electricity, the gas, the water, the da 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 da, and so it's another $200 in utilities. So even if it's 1,700 and you're thinking of 15, but you don't have to pay for utilities. You got the TV, so you don't have to worry about internet. So there is advantages that are hidden there. So keep that in mind. All right, everybody, have a great day. Thank you for watching. Please watch the trade cycle video. You'll learn a lot, and it's really a very good. These are from my notes from my master's class. So you're sitting in a master's class for free. I'm giving you notes word for word. So please just listen, and then please ask me questions, but you'll find it extremely helpful. Okay, everybody, have a great day. Thank you very much.